So when we look at the distribution challenges we look to address in Resolv related to customer service, it's helping to ease doing business with a distributor, answering information, questions, and requests promptly, accurately, providing proactive communications. This is through immediate emails, text messages, SFTP, and EDI communications with customers, and ultimately maintaining high fill rates with customers by having enough inventory in stock and tools to allocate inventory to customers so that your fill rates are maintained high. Let's talk about the customer service levels, improving customer service levels. As I mentioned, some of the areas that we want to focus in on is really making sure that you have products for customers. And obviously with COVID and the problems with the supply chain, there's still going to be issues out there. And you want to make some decisions on which customers have products allocated. Now, the order reservations component here, this is one screen. This functionality is available throughout Resolv. And what you're able to do here is do an allocation of inventory from inbound orders to outbound demand. So the allocations can be from a purchase order, a production order, a transfer, and it can be to outbound sales orders, quotes, AR reserve invoice, production orders if it's a component, or transfer requests to other warehouses on the outbound side. And the screen is designed where you have a top section, so you'll see a purchase order here, and how many ordered, how many open, and then how many are committed to other orders down here. In this screen, you can do the allocations manually. So we can come in here, and if you have authorizations, you can come through and manually allocate items to customers, so you can make that decision. We have automatic allocations, so you don't have to go through this process. Or if you'd like to, you could have it exported to Excel if you have a lot of sales orders where you want to do your allocations, and then have it re-imported where you're doing it here. So you can come through, manually type it, or again, there's some automated rules so where you can put in partial quantities or all, and it will allocate it against this purchase order coming in. And when those items come in, we use SAP bins, and we're going to put them in specific bin locations within the warehouse that are allocated to these customers. So the allocation program as part of the order reservation is a key customer service tool. The other area is really looking at and providing accurate answers to customers' questions, quickly, accurately, with all the information in a single location. We have our OTC module, and from this screen, you're looking at SAP transactions, being quotes and orders and invoices. The design is having the lowest level transaction, working their way all the way up to invoices and payments. But we also have our transactions from Resolv. So it could be answering a question about a customer's sales order, and I have one customer here on the phone. I'm answering questions for Grohl and Hawkins about all of their open sales orders, whether they have reserved items or not, whether they're approved or not. The top section here is acting as a filter for the data below. Excuse my dogs in the background. If the customer has EDI transactions, which is part of our EDI module, to look at transactions coming in or out, and this one doesn't, but we'll look at all customers for EDI instead of one particular customer. And in here, let's see if I have some invoices usually. I can see this one doesn't have any in here, any of the EDI transactions here. Or if I want to answer some information about the warehouse, where is my order? When is it going to be shipping? And in here, since I have the device and everything is time and date stamped of when it's gone into the warehouse, I may want to get visibility and look at all of the orders that have been released for picking but not yet picked. If I'm the warehouse manager, I may want to make a decision on reassigning some pick tickets to people. So I get that information here, again, all from the same screen. If the scenario is coming through where I'm trying to answer customers' questions about an order being delivered, with the freight system that's tying into the various LTLs and full truckload carriers, I can look at tracking numbers to see, all right, let me see everything that's been shipped, and I could get a hyperlink directly out to the carrier from here if I'm talking to All Island Supplies on the phone, and that hyperlinks and pushes through to UPS or FedEx. And I may just say it's not a real order, but we'll pass through so your customer service can provide that information to their accounts directly from within Business One. So this one screen provides a lot of information, again, looking to improve our customer services. I'm not going to touch on standard SAP transactions since everyone here should be familiar with them. But the last two areas that I want to touch on here that we have embedded is really our quality control module. And if there are QC transactions related to customer sales orders or customer returns, you could see the QC transactions from this screen and answer your customers' questions. Finally, often, even if we're doing a lot of things digitally for sales and so forth, you have customers call over the phone that still says, what's my price on a product and how much do you have in stock? To answer that question, we have developed what we call the pricing and availability module. And I'll go back to that one customer, Groland Hawkins, and I'll focus on our Kentucky warehouse. And while I'm on the phone with them or just trying to get an order through that they may have emailed over, I can find out for that customer all of the items, and if they have special pricing, you'll see it here, but their default pricing, how much I have in stock, how much I have committed and on-ordered. In here, we have last pricing. We also have available to promise, alternative items, and a few extra features that really kind of turn this into an order entry tool is what we call the order pad. I'm going to filter on just previously purchased items or previous sales, so I'm not seeing tens of thousands of items. And if I hit the order pad, it turns it into an order entry grid. And from here, I can type in quantities if the customer says, okay, I want 2 of these and 3 of those and 5 of these and 6 of those and so forth. And I could either save it if the customer is going to contact me later for follow-up, or if I want to turn it to an order or a quote or an order, I simply hit that. It runs a macro behind the scenes, and it will launch SAP's quote entry screen and create a new quote. We have the same functionality also available on the purchase order screen. So that quote has been created. We didn't have a default price for the customer, but in here we've now created that quote for the customer while we have them on the phone. So when we're looking at customer service levels, which was the first area of focus, these are just a few areas amongst many others that we look to drive and improve customer service levels. Another area, really more behind the scenes, but is really the most important, is proper inventory replenishment. What we have done with Resolv, we've utilized the inventory replenishment rules of a gentleman by the name of Gordon Graham, who has written several books on inventory management for distributors, as well as John Schreibfeder has effective inventory management. We've incorporated both of their rules for replenishment. And this will be this is in addition to SAP's MRP rules that they have. But with this, we can have per item, per warehouse specific replenishment rules. And we could have, we added in safety allowances. We added in order quantity methods. So you could have EOQ, manual, or movement classes, which I'll discuss momentarily. We have order point, line point, as well as min-max. And then we have we have a replenishment methodology. So when you're looking at replenishing inventory for a warehouse, where do we get that inventory? Do we get it on a production? Do we get it on a buy? Do we get it on a transfer? So when we do hit our replenishment point and we need to buy items or replenish items, I should say, it will automatically create a purchase order, a production order, or a transfer. The other piece that I want to mention on here on this one screen is something called movement classes. Now, what will happen is there's 14 movement classes based off of Gordon Graham's replenishment methodology. The first movement class is, I think, about the top 2.5 or 3.5% moving items, fastest moving items and valuable items for that warehouse. The next class is the next lower percentage, another 5%, all the way down to 11, 12, and 13, which are really your slow and dead moving stock. You really don't need to do anything. You just post your SAP transactions, and the system will automatically have an update routine, put these items into moving classes by warehouse. So you can use these features to help put items in certain bins. You may want to have fast moving items together by the shipping dock. But people also use the slower moving classes to get rid of dead stock and free up space inside the warehouse. So we have reports and queries that you could utilize to have, let me see all my dead stock for moving class, let's say 12 and 13. Moving class 14 is an undefined one. You're not tracking it yet. One other thing worth noting, if you're just recently on Business One and moved to Business One, you have the capability to import usage from your previous system. So you could work with your B1 partner, and they can get sales data and usage data from your other system, and we can import that usage into our replenishment system so that you'll have your monthly usage for your items for as long as you've been on your legacy system. Okay, so in here, what you're seeing is your monthly actual usage, and there's something called qualified usage. If you have unusual usages, high or low, the system will flag that for you and allow you to exclude that from your averages so it doesn't skew your order quantities. We also have qualified lead time. So again, the lead times right now in the last year have been a bit wacky. So right now your lead times may be 90 days, but traditionally they were 30 days. So you may want to exclude the current lead times from your averages. Finally, and I'd like to move on from here, we incorporate, I may have lost my connection to my server. There we go. We incorporate the Gordon Graham and the Schreibfeder rules. So you can look at here, these items being 6-month rolling average, seasonal items, weighted averages, and finally, what we've added in recently, which has become quite popular with customers, is in addition to using any of these 20+ replenishment rules, restocking rules that we have, if you have your own set of rules that you really trust and you want to utilize, you or your SAP partner can use SAP queries, and for this one item, for this warehouse, you can choose your own custom forecast formula that it was written with an SAP query. So this will factor in, other things that the system or traditional replenishment forecast do not utilize. So again, tying back into customer service and addressing some of the challenges of distributors, inventory replenishment is key there.